would not get rid of that bag anytime soon.
Full tank ahead.
Propelling, slid over one-timers.
No.
Drummond.
For those of you who don't know, he deserves...
Welcome to episode 7 of Stuck in the Sin Bin. I'm your host, Michael McCormack, and as always, I'm joined alongside by Luke Owens, Dylan McGlynn, and Matt Watling. All right, guys, let's jump into this week's Power Rankings. Coming out at number 5, we yet again see the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, well, they're winners of 4 of their last 5, of course, leading the best division in the NHL by 5 points, tied for first in the NHL. That might have changed with the Sabres win earlier on tonight.
Little tease.
But this is one of the deepest defense cores in the NHL. You know PK Subban. You know Roman Josi. Do you know Ryan Ellis? Mattias Ekholm? Those guys are studs. You've also got a guy like Yannick Weber, who's very solid. No way is he elite, but he's a solid third pairing guy. And then Pekrin has been dominant with a sub 2 goals against average. My only issue is they lack an electric scorer ever since Arvidsson went down with an injury.
All right, now at number 4 is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, well, Toronto, for some reason, they're allergic to losing in overtime, but they're still entering tonight. They were still tied for second in the league with 34 points. They've also missed Austin Matthews for almost 15 games now, and his return is expected as soon as tomorrow.
All right. Number 3, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, this is me again. Well, entering today, they won 5 out of their last 6. I think they have the best top 6 in the NHL, led by Steven Stamkos and Nikita Kucherov, who now are on 2 separate lines, which only makes them more dangerous. And obviously, Vasilevsky is out, but Louis Domingue playing very well at .913 save percentage in the month of November.
Okay. At number 2, it's the Washington Capitals, and we've seen the return of Tom Wilson, who does have 6 goals in 5 games. And guys, I think this team is just, there's no Stanley Cup hangover this year, and they're the real deal. And making me befuddled, it's the Buffalo Sabres in our number 1 spot.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is season 3 of Stuck in the Sin Bin. Not one time did the Sabres receive a single power ranking vote. And tonight, gentlemen, they are number 1 in the power rankings. Look at that beautiful logo. The winners of 10 straight. 5 of those came on the road. The city is buzzing. This team, I can't say enough about them. They fight for the full 60 minutes of hockey. They usually go to overtime, too. And my goodness, I can't say enough about them. We'll talk about them later, but I'm shaking right now.
Now we transition to
moment.
a place where good news is scarce, New Jersey. The Devils have fallen off drastically these past few weeks, despite having a fantastic home record of 7-1-3. They have found themselves near the bottom of the Eastern Conference. And now we turn to Dylan. Tell us what's going on in Jersey.
Yeah, the last game was especially a little frustrating. They blew a late third period lead, lost in overtime. They lost 5 out of their last 6, 4 of the games by 1 goal, and 3 of those games in overtime. They can't win the close games, and as we saw their last game out, they did blow the third period lead. They get the point for the overtime loss, but when you blow a lead like that in the final 2 minutes of the game, it's just...
That'll do it.
Yeah, it's tough. You get, like, yeah, right here against Florida. And they just don't seem to have... Obviously, they have Hall, and you have Palmieri. They have a great first line, I think. First line's fine. But my problem is they don't have the guy, especially defensively. That's where my main concern lies.
Yeah, for sure. And you just look at this video, and there's 2 or 3 guys around in front of the net. You've got to clean up the puck, the loose puck in front of the net. That is ridiculous, to be honest. The fact that you can't make those stops, and then here in overtime, Kincaid unable to slide over. Looks like Hoffman, the former center, gets the goal there.
Yeah, he does. He's been great, by the way. But so I was looking at game score, which is I know Matt likes it. It's an analytic, calculates. It's good for comparing players. And the only defenseman that has an above-average game score on the Devils is Damon Severson. And then you have Butcher and Vatanen, both been around average, but everyone else below average. But one guy I do want to highlight that's been really good has been Blake Coleman. I said before the year that he's due for a breakout, and he's been really good. 8 goals, 6 assists, 14 points in 23 games, and he hasn't played on either power play at all.
Yeah, and he seems like the Miles Wood of last year, and Miles Wood is another guy really disappointing. And here's Blake Coleman.
Yeah, see Coleman. One of his main assets is his speed. As you see right here, they put him in on the PK. Big mistake by Andrei Markov, and no mistake as he just comes in and roofs it.
Yeah, that he had that one-handed goal against Pittsburgh, I believe it was
last year.
Season. On to much happier news, the New York Rangers have returned to their winning ways with a huge win over Ottawa last night after dropping 2 games in a row last week. Guys, how have the Rangers been playing?
I mean, they've been playing well, but my biggest concern for the Rangers is, can they hang around with the better teams in the East? Like you said, they beat up teams like Ottawa, but can they hang with teams at the top of the East? I'm not so sure yet. I mean, they play in a weak division, so, I mean, that's going to give them some help. We'll talk about that later. But I don't know. I'm not completely sold on the Rangers just yet.
Yeah, I talked just before, like, their winning ways, and they're actually, like, aside from them losing those 2 awful games last weekend, especially against Philadelphia, they've kind of, used their young guns to really, form a really good team this year. And I mean, some good plays, especially Filipino right there. I think this team is really taken off.
Yeah, and you say Buchnevich has been out and will be out for a while. Zuccarello has played 1 game in the last few weeks.
Yeah,
they're doing it without one of their veteran leaders in Zuccarello, one of their best young offensive forwards. But my concern is defensively, though, still for this team. Not Lundqvist, but obviously actual defenseman.
Yeah, I mean, the goaltending, even despite the defense, has been really good.
Yeah.
Henrik Lundqvist with a 240 goals against, 920 save percentage. Georgiev, 247 goals against. You saw, I should say, in this month, and you saw it in the previous weeks, and really for the rest of the season, Georgiev was, what, a 4+ goals against? He wasn't looking great, but then you got Philip Hudel, who you mentioned earlier in that video. What a talent he is. Philip Hudel is something special, as I believe this is really his first full season in the NHL.
5-game goal streak. Yeah. That is crazy.
That's a shot.
And that's the thing too. He scored his first goal of the season, and then he went 4 games after that to score 4 more goals, and that's nuts.
And Mike, you talked about that Flyers game. I thought that was a big test for the Rangers that unfortunately they weren't able to pass, where the Flyers came in and kind of blew them out a little bit, coming off of a huge loss for the Flyers against the Sabres. I thought that was a big game for the Rangers, and they didn't prove a lot to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then you've got Ryan Strome now. Acquired him from Edmonton for Ryan Spooner. And that just makes the Islanders trade look so much better. Islanders getting Jordan Eberle for Strome. Strome flipped to the Rangers now. And he's played pretty solid. I haven't watched too much of him, but I know, Mike, you've seen quite a bit of Ryan Strome over the last couple games.
Yeah, I said this when the trade happened. They're getting the same player with Ryan Spooner. It's RS for RS. You're getting the same exact play. Ryan Strome, all right, 2-way forward, can make a good couple plays. Ryan Spooner, kind of the same thing. He could, he really doesn't have that much flair to his game. He'll have some bright spots, but I mean, it's the same. It's the same player.
Yeah, I happen to like Strome more than Spooner in the sense that he was a top 5 pick with the Islanders. He was supposed to be talented. He's a guy that could get you 60 points in a season, and that's really impressive for a guy that's getting flipped for really a throw-in at a trade deadline acquisition like Spooner was.
True. That's all great to hear, and that's all the time we have. But when we come back, the gang and I will discuss some Islanders and Sabres hockey. Don't go away. You're watching Stuck in the Sin Bin on WTOP 10.
Hey guys, when we're not doing The Real Deal, what do you like to do in your free time?
Well, I like to watch WTOP 10 movies on demand.
Yeah, me too. They have such a wide variety of films that anybody on campus can watch.
And it's free.
And it's free.
How do I get to this movies on demand?
Well, all you have to do is go to WTOP10.com and click the Movies on Demand tab.
Hey, let's go watch one right now to review on our next show.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please.
Don't quit on me. Okay. But remember, it's not what you say. It's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
5 seconds potentially right off the draw.
And oh my, Lawson, just a little bit.
All right, welcome back to Stuck in the Sim Bin. The Buffalo Sabres are arguably the hottest team in the NHL right now, having won their last 10 games in a row. Luke, I'm sure you're very stoked to see this. Tell us what has been the key for this winning streak.
Well, it's not what, it's who. Jeff Skinner has inserted himself into the Sabres team. I have to update my sheet, too, like you had to update the teleprompter now with win number 10 in a row tonight. He now has 10 goals over the win streak, tied second in the NHL with now 19 goals. That ties him for first place in the NHL. We'll see how the rest of the games go tonight. But Jeff Skinner, if we can roll that highlight film, he's just been absolutely unbelievable for the Sabres.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm very high on Jeff Skinner. I said over the summer, before the trade, that I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, which is
that was a hot take.
Total point for a different day. But he's showing his full offensive potential, playing with a guy like Eichel. I mean, they're a really scary duo.
I mean, here against Montreal, 2 minutes left, and Jeff Skinner just finds himself right on the short side. Incredible stick work on the backhand. Gets it past Carey Price to send the game to overtime. 19 on the year. After he hit another game winner tonight. This was a crazy goal. But he just gets in front of the net. He creates a lot of traffic, and I think that's his biggest strength right now for the Sabres. Then in overtime, just very hectic in front of the net. You don't really know where the puck is, but Jeff Skinner knows. Falling on his backside, pops it in, another game winner for Skinner.
He's got the puck on his stick these past couple games.
Now, 10-game winning streak, don't get me wrong, it's incredible. Ties the greatest one for the Sabres in their history.
Yes.
They beat about 4 good teams. We'll add in 5 because they just beat San Jose. Tampa, Winnipeg, Minnesota. I'll give Pittsburgh. They're good enough. They're Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And then Montreal twice. They haven't beat great teams, but they've looked so good doing it that I don't think they're the best team in the NHL. I think that's safe to say. I think Tampa's proven that they're better than the Sabres over the course of a 82-game season. But this is a team that could be the second or third spot in the Atlantic for the entire season.
I agree with you. I'm not saying the Sabres are the best team in the NHL. I'm not that unreasonable, especially because they seem to win every game by only 1 goal. They go to overtime a lot. This next stretch is going to be huge. They play Panthers. I mean, we'll see. That could just be a trap game. At the Lightning, and then at the Predators, and then they host the Maple Leafs. So this is a huge test for Buffalo coming up. And I said that about their last road trip, where they knocked off the Jets, the Wild, and the Penguins. So they've done it before. They can do it again. But this is a huge test for a young team.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the point they're at right now with this win streak and all the hype, if they don't make the playoffs, I think it's a huge disappointment for them.
No, and I think they will make the playoffs. And you just look at their goaltending in the month of November. Carter Hutton, 7-2, 211 goals against. That's what you signed up for when you signed him. That's what you expect from him. And then Linus Ullmark, 294 goals against average. Really solid for a backup goaltender. He was playing better earlier in the year, but this is what you expect. If your backup goalie gives up 3 goals a game, that's fine. That's really okay.
Yeah. It's actually really amazing to see what one offseason can do for a team. We now move out to Brooklyn, where the Islanders have picked up their play as of late, making their record 12-9-2. Throwing it over to Matt, despite their loss last night, how big were those 2 wins they collected last weekend?
Yeah, and I think the biggest the way that shows how they're going to win is the greatest way to describe it is their game against the Hurricanes. They do not outshoot their opponents, which is what you saw. They lost the Corsi battle 56-33 against Carolina. But they only give up 4 more shots on goal. They do such a good job blocking shots, forcing them outside. And you see in this Hurricanes game, the quality of shots that the Hurricanes got was very minimal. They really didn't give up a lot of high-danger scoring chances, this Islanders team. On the other hand, against Carolina, the Islanders had breakaways. They had all this incredible thing. And if we pull up the video here in that game against Carolina, it'll just goes to show how good their defense played. You see here, the Islanders, look at the positioning that they have.
Yeah, they're clogging that middle heavily.
And they do a great job there, just covering it up there. And you'll see again, defensively, boxing out. This is one of the better chances that the Hurricanes had, and it's a block shot.
It is 4-on-4 too, yeah.
That's another great play. And then the Islanders here, another good stop. And then on the Phil Pula goal, this is a high-danger chance. It's a breakaway. Great move there. And this is a team that, over the last 10 games, 54% of the high-danger scoring chances in their games belong to the Islanders. That's a recipe for success that I can get behind.
Now, Matt, what has been hurting the Islanders this season?
It's that putrid power play of theirs. 0 for 10 in their last 10 games. They're terrible. They're not moving the puck fast enough. And I think the biggest issue is they don't have any shooters on that power play. Matt Barzal, not a shooter. Their best forward that has a shot is Eberle and Nelson, and they're not guys that are going to stand like Ovechkin and rip shots from the point. They're just not like that. I'd rather see Ryan Pulock or Johnny Boychuk stand on that left circle and just fire shots away. And even when they do that, they're forcing the pucks to their guys. Just not a great power play, and I don't know how you really change it.
Yeah, and like you said, it's got to be faster puck movement. I mean, just watching these highlights here against Dallas, they just seem to be letting Dallas set up on defense instead of putting that pressure on. And I mean, I know you don't like the mascot, but this Islanders are a really gritty team. I like to use that word to describe them. I mean, like you said, they get outshot, but they fight hard on defense. They're not afraid to sacrifice the bodies, and they just need to take that same mentality and throw it on the power play.
Yeah. I mean, no disrespect to Cal Clutterbuck here. I'm sure he's a great guy, but why is he playing on the power play?
That's the thing. They don't have anyone else to play. You use about 7 skaters.
Yeah, he's got a decent
He's
shot.
their best bottom 6 forward, unless you want to go Tom Kuhnackel, Valtteri Filppula. Who do you want to?
I would give Filppula a chance just because how well, obviously, 7 goals on 20 shots, but he's still producing.
It's ridiculous.
Well, that's all the time we have for Isles and Sabres talk. When we come back, we have the latest news stories revolving around the NHL. We'll be right back on Stuck in the Sim Bed.
Hey, President Stanley, whenever there's bad weather, who would you turn to?
I'd turn to Storm Team 10.
No, but you've got to say it like this. Storm Team 10. Say it with me. Storm Team 10.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
This is the moment I knew his future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Titus MC up in this mob. About to set it for these egos.
Welcome back to Stuck in the Sim Bed. Although news has been somewhat dry since our last episode, we still have a few big stories to get to. Our first bit of news involves a trade between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Arizona Coyotes. Dylan Strome and Brendan Pierlini of the Coyotes are off to the Windy City, and Nick Schmaltz of the Blackhawks is headed to the desert. Guys, what's your take on this trade?
I don't like it if I'm the Coyotes. I really don't. Schmaltz is a good player, and he's proven that he can put up points. He had 52 last year, but Strome still has potential to me, and Perlini, I thought, was a really good player. I thought he really showed what he can do last year. He's got 4 goals this year, which isn't much, but they've been struggling offensively. So
I mean, it's interesting. Chayka now, the GM of the Coyotes, has traded the last 3 first-round draft picks of former GM Don Maloney, from the 2013, 14, and 15 in Max Domi, Perlini, and Strome. And it's just interesting to see. And he said that they just can't wait any longer for these guys. They can't be patient anymore for Perlini and for Strome to really break out, and I don't disagree with him. I think it's a bit of a rash decision to trade 2 of them for Schmaltz, but the Coyotes seem to be very high on Schmaltz, as they've asked about him several times.
Yeah.
I would have at least liked to keep Perlini. His first year was last year, so.
Yeah, guys, I honestly think Arizona overpaid way too much in this deal. Next on the agenda is yet again more head coach firings. The first comes from St. Louis, where the Blues have fired head coach Mike Yeo after 3 seasons with the team. Matt, tell us who's taking his place.
Well, his assistant, Craig Berube, was named the interim head coach. He has some head coaching experience with the Flyers and with the Chicago Wolves of the AHL. I think they needed this spark. In my opinion, this is a team that is better now than they were last year. You add Ryan O'Reilly. This is a good team. They shouldn't be this bad. They might not make the playoffs to the Central, but this is a good team. They should be playing much better.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that, a few years ago we were talking about how they were in the top of the West, and I think it's just time for a change in St. Louis.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
All right, and the next one is from Edmonton, where the Oilers have fired head coach Todd McClellan, who was in his 4th year of his 5-year contract with the team. Luke, who is taking his place?
Well, I'm not sure who's taking his place, but I think this is the right move for the Oilers. I mean, you have 2 top center guys, obviously. A guy like McDavid. It just seems like the Oilers are kind of wasting away their young talent. And if you're in win-now mode like the Oilers, I think you got to go for it.
Yeah.
Well, they added head coach, bona fide Hall of Famer head coach, Ken Hitchcock.
Okay.
So he teaches defense. He teaches the 200-foot game.
I didn't want to speculate on it since
he's already been.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't think it's McClellan's fault by any means. I think it's
it's the roster.
You know what Chiarelli said? He said, "I gave him all the tools he had to succeed." That's not even close. That's a lie. That's a lie.
It's so
they have
bad.
McDavid and Draisaitl and nobody. Like
Hitchcock is good. They'll be good with Hitchcock. I think they could sneak into the playoffs in a week.
For McDavid's sake.
Thanks, Mike. Trick question.
Yeah, guys. There's now 4 head coaches who have been relieved of their duties, and we are only a quarter of the way into the season. And hey, guys, guess what? I have another head coach fired. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's a general manager firing this time. Ron Hextall of the Philadelphia Flyers has been relieved of his duties. We will now show you a brief video from a press conference that the Flyers management held featuring team president Paul Holmgren on the left and Comcast Spectacor and CEO Flyers governor David Scott on the right. Let's take a look.
Just Sam quickly too, because we talked in length about this decision, and for me I sort of boiled it down to one question. Do I think that we could do better as a team now, not 2 years or 3 years from now, but now? And I think that answer was yes.
Yeah, so you just look at the Flyers. They believe they can win now. They don't want to wait. And I don't disagree with them, Only 2 playoff berths in 5 years. You got guys like Voracek, Giroux, Simmons. This is a talented team that has a horrendous goaltending situation, and anyone could have told you that was going to be the issue heading into the season. They didn't do enough to address their goaltending, and that's the biggest issue here.
Yeah, I think the Flyers should be in win-now mode. I think they made the right move. And like you said, if they can clean up that goaltending, they have the offense to do things.
Carter Hart, baby.
They have the defense, I think, too. They have a lot of really young defensemen, but talented ones. One of the things that I read was a lot of people in Philly were frustrated because Hextall, they thought, was too patient. He wasn't willing to pull a trade on a big deal, and that's what ultimately...
It's funny because they say trust the process in Philly, but I guess it doesn't apply to the hockey team.
Not for the hockey team.
Yeah. Guys, that is definitely one of the more surprising firings we have seen this season so far. Our last bit of news involves Brian Burke, who is the president of hockey operations for the Calgary Flames. And he had quite a mouthful to say about the Carolina Hurricanes' unusual post-game celebration that they do with their fans. Burke said to the reporters, quote, "I think it's absurdly amateurish, pee-wee garbage stuff." And then he also added, "They like it, terrific. Stay and watch it, clap. Have another beer and stay and watch them swim or canoe or whatever they're going to do next. I'm not watching, boys." Boys, what do you got to say?
I love this fun. I love it so much.
Wait.
Not just
fun.
Okay. How great would it be if they just used their sticks and we're rowing rowing on the ice, kind of slide off?
Look at this video.
And this
they
is
do
the video.
The skull chant, and then they're
what's not fun about this?
Dominoes right there.
Come on,
here comes the dominoes. Bang. And then they all just go wrong. It's incredible.
I'm waiting for someone to tear an ACL or something.
Hey, they're not
this
jumping
cannot
into
be
the boards
safe.
That'd probably be when it ends.
Someone's going to tear an ACL. That's the only issue with it.
At least they're not jumping into the boards anymore.
He knew he was going to get torn to shreds for saying that.
Yeah.
Why? Even if that's what you think, just keep it to
I'm not
yourself.
surprised there hasn't been more outlash for it.
Yeah, guys, I feel like Brian Berg always has something mean to say about everything hockey related. That's all the time we have for news this week, but when we come back, we are going to turn this set into a legislative assembly and debate some hockey topics. We'll be right back on Stuck in the Sin Bin.
Is How Are You Precious okay?
Take out the precious. It's way too cheesy.
Okay, yeah.
Just go, hey, how are you?
Nope.
How's your day?
Yeah.
Don't be cheesy.
Yeah, I figured.
So, what'd she say?
She's still typing. I'm not sure. She never takes this long.
I wouldn't worry about it. Give it a few minutes.
Okay.
The second I got on the campus, I knew Oswego was the place to go.
There's a place for everybody at Oswego.
This school just opens the world to you. Have the opportunity to explore and to learn so many different things, not only about yourself, but the people around you and the world.
It definitely is about the student. I felt it to be very about me. Now that I'm here, I can't imagine myself anywhere else.
Put your hands up in the air. I like it.
Welcome back to Stuck in the Sin Bin. Today we'll debut our newest segment, 5 for Fighting, a head-to-head debate. 2 of us will debate against each other at a time, and the other 2 will select the winner who will advance to the final round. Our first matchup is between Luke and Matt. The question is the Metropolitan Division that much worse than the Atlantic this year? All right, gentlemen, begin.
The answer is no. The Metro is off to a slow start. You look at this Atlantic. Is Montreal really going to be a playoff team? Absolutely not. They are not good. They're off to a hot start, and they're going to falter.
Okay, but you're only going to bring up Montreal this whole argument. I know what you're going to do.
Okay,
you're just
ready?
going to focus on Montreal.
Montreal. Is Detroit good? No. Is Ottawa good? No. Is Florida good? No.
Let's argue
half
about the top
team,
of the divisions.
Half of the Atlantic is not good.
No.
On the other hand, could Washington make the playoffs? Yes. Columbus, yes. The Rangers.
Okay, so
could the Rangers feasibly make the playoffs? More teams in the Metro could be playoff teams.
Did you just hear your argument? You just said the top 3 teams in the Metro are better than the worst teams in the Atlantic.
No,
that
my
was
point
your
is
whole argument.
that the Metro as a whole is better.
Sabres, Lightning, Leafs. They're fun, they're exciting, they're new. The Met is just so old and boring. No one wants to watch the Penguins.
No one wants to watch Sidney Crosby, the greatest player in the world.
That's from yesteryears. We're on to the new and the fun, and that is the Atlantic Division.
Absolutely not.
All right, gentlemen. Dylan?
I
gotta go with Luke here.
I think Luke had a very unique approach, and I think he should be
He
rewarded
just said
for
that they're new. Who doesn't watch the best team?
I knew what you were going to say. I didn't know what he was going to say.
Next matchup is between Dylan and I, and the topic we'll be debating is will the Penguins turn it around this year?
Let's go, boys.
No. Matt Murray's not a good goaltender. He's average at best. His glove side sucks, period. He's out for the foreseeable future anyways. Their D pairs are not very good. Jack Johnson's a -10. His partner, Jamie Oleksiak, is +9. That doesn't even make sense.
You have to forget goalies and defense in this. Like Matt said, like Matt said, you have Sidney Crosby, the best player. He is going to single-handedly take that team back to the playoffs. You still have Phil Kessel, Malkin, and Letang. I'm telling you, they're gonna get back in the playoffs.
In hockey, one player cannot carry a team. We've seen that for that past couple years with Connor McDavid, who I think right now better than Sidney Crosby.
Dylan, you already won the argument. Stop.
Yeah,
now,
I'm going to give it to Dylan.
I just want to hear 1 point from each. You guys are going to have to battle to the death now to see who wins this.
Yeah, I guess we'll battle after the show.
You'll see that on our Instagram. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have on Stuck in the Sin Bin. Thank you so much for watching and joining us again. For Luke Owens, Dylan McGlynn, and Matt Watley, I'm Michael McCormack, and we'll see you next week here on WTOP 10.